It always amazes me how people can survive these accidents and how some people don't. So this aircraft came in, you can see it spinning into some trees here in this front yard, and the two on board were not injured. It kind of hit some trees. They said if those trees weren't there, it would have flew into this house. There was a wife with 4 children at home, but there was no injuries. It was this aircraft here, a 1981 Piper Seneca 3, November 134 Mike Golf. June 8th, we're in Canada, and we're dealing with float planes today. So we have this collision here. This boat was in the area for float plane operations, and a lot of speed took down the aircraft. This aircraft actually sank, and there was 6 on board, but no one on the aircraft was injured. But you can see this boat, they take it right over the top. So 2 out of the 4 on the boat were seriously injured. June 14th, we're in Ponta Grossa, Brazil, and this aircraft is coming in and goes over the top. Hopefully the pilot is okay. It was a Waco aircraft. Papa Zulu X-Ray Yankee was the tail number. Moving on, we're in Marathon, Florida, July 4th. Here this aircraft had engine failure and they're going for the ocean. It looks like here, not much. You can see buildings in the area, and they did ditch. This is how it ended up. So it was an Aeronca, a Chief, November 9231 Echo. Instructor and student pilot, they were okay. Here is that aircraft in all its glory. September 6th, we're in California. Firefighters are on scene to this aircraft that's fully involved. They're going to be pulling attack lines for fire control, look for survivors. They're going to establish command and make sure that there's no injuries on the ground. So you can see they did pull hand lines. They're using foam here. They got the fire out. The 2 people were critically injured. You can see how badly burned this fuselage is, but they did survive, and they were sent immediately to the hospital. But you can see the substantial damage and the kind of residual foam here on the ground. January 8th, we're in Portugal. We're seeing this ultralight aircraft coming in real low. A lot of people in the area, and then catches the power line and goes down. So there was a sole pilot on board that was injured, but luckily nobody on the ground was injured. As we go over this slowly, there was vehicles around, there was people all in line with this aircraft, so a lot of things could have went worse. June 25th, we have a wild one. This aircraft going into the trees. We're in Swans Island, Maine. It's a Cessna 150 built in 1961, and it just took off, and a lot of trees in the area. Luckily it didn't hit those wires. Here's the Cessna 150, similar to this one, November 7340 X-ray, and it happened at this Banks airport. A lot of trees, not much going on around this airport, but those trees definitely saved the sole pilot. Minor injuries. So moving on, we're in North Carolina. This air traffic control tower was on fire. So ARF and everyone's gonna have to respond. Luckily, the structure is pretty sound. There were 4 construction workers that got out on their own, and they chose to use the ladder and just make access. You can see it's pretty open, so they can get to it from the outside. Towers could be a problem. I know our air traffic control tower, there's a lot of security around it. Just getting into the facility is an issue. But they got this fire out, no injuries. That's the old tower, so that's the one that was on fire, and there was construction going on, and this is where the new tower is located. So it didn't hurt any of the flights. No aircraft, nobody was really hurt. They took their time, got the fire out. January 28th, we're in Oita, Japan. This aircraft is pulling to the left here, goes off the runway. It caused a 1-hour closure to the airport. There was 4 canceled flights, 3 on board, no injuries. And then here's what it looks like. You can see ARF is on scene here. No fuel spills, no fires, but definitely one hell of a land there for the passengers. It was a Honda Jet HA420 Juliet Alpha 924 Hotel. Welcome back. November 15th. We're in Florida. Here you can see this aircraft making it to that directional sign. Let's see what happened. It had landing gear malfunctions and takes out the sign there. It's a four-seater. There's two on board. But here you can see shortly that they were uninjured and they got out of the aircraft by themselves. December 11th, we're in Texas. This aircraft coming in with engine issues, going in line with traffic, but ends up, you can see the cars there, hitting three vehicles. And there was a sole pilot. There you can see it in the distance. And then here it is from a dash cam, different angle. So it was a Piper Navajo PA31-350 November 818 Bravo Romeo. There you can see all the cars around. Firefighters are on scene. We have a sad one here, February 1st in Pennsylvania. This aircraft in pieces. It crashed 2 minutes after takeoff. Firefighters are on scene. There was a person home here. She was asleep when this aircraft came down in her backyard. The sole pilot did not make it. So there you can see the tail number, November 887 Charlie Charlie. There's the proximity to the home. Looks like it kind of came straight down. There's not much markings in the area. This 4th, we're in Sacramento, California. This aircraft comes skidding in at Hagen Oaks Golf Complex. The sole pilot was okay, minor injuries to his hand. He had a forced landing shortly after takeoff at Sacramento McClellan Airport. And not much options. The pilot did a great job. And it was this aircraft here, a Piper Turbo Arrow, November 135 Delta Golf. August 28th, everybody standing by looking at this aircraft coming in, had landing gear issues, had to do an emergency landing, and seems like everything is going okay. Firefighters, we would be standing by. You don't want to be too close to the runway because you never know exactly where these aircraft are going to end up. There you can see it kind of skidded off the runway there a little bit. There was 3 on board. There was no injuries here. It was this aircraft, Beechcraft B200 Super King Air, similar to this one. November 3 Papa Xer was the tail number.
Oh crap, he crashed it. Did he really? Yep.
Welcome back, May 21st. We have this Cirrus Vision aircraft, no brakes, running away here, and it takes a swim. Pretty unfortunate for the pilot. There was a lot of people on board, 2 pilots, 2 passengers, and 2 dogs. There you can see it takes a swim there. And now the work begins. November 26th, we're in Ecuador. You can see a lot going on in the scene right here. So let's figure out what happened to this plane. Now you can watch it just comes down, probably a flat spin. I mean, it hit pretty hard. There were 2 on board. You can see the one in the motorcycle there. He was injured, and sadly the 2 on board did not make it. It was a Diamond DA20 -C1, a Eclipse. In Haneda Airport in Tokyo, this Airbus A350 collided with a Coast Guard cargo plane. Everybody safely evacuated from this fireball here as you see it coming down the runway. 367 passengers and 12 crew on the A350. The Coast Guard had 5 crew that did not survive, and a pilot did survive. There are supplies for earthquake victims. Firefighters are going to get on scene to this immediate craziness, putting foam on this fire and fuel, and trying to work on evacuating the passengers. The main thing here, you can see ARF is using hand lines. Really, that's not doing much. You need to, at some point, try to get in there or use your piercing tip. If you like this content, please subscribe, and here's to safe skies in 2025.